About a year into the Marvel Rivals lifespan and 6 seasons, the meta for each season has changed drastically from its beginning. However, what was the most cancerous, the most toxic, the most rancid, unemployment-based meta that made people quit? Well, to answer that, we do get a look at the metas starting from Season 0. For this season, this was the Wild West of the game, but this was when Strange was my GOAT. 17 damage a shot, 3 projectiles, the Eye of Agamotto, oh my god. I miss it. I miss it a lot. Aside from my GOAT, a lot of picks around this time was Star-Lord, Mantis, and Adam Warlock because of the triple res team up. Half of the team being able to revive themselves was just a bit crazy, but nobody knew how to play the game, so it was kind of swept under the rug. Luna was a good contender too because of the 10+ second immunity she gave and crap ton of healing, which, with this in mind, on the cancer scale, it wasn't all that cancerous. Think like skin cancer, really basic stuff, nothing too horrible. However, a month later, with the release of Season 1, the Fantastic Four were added. First, it was Reed, Any Size You Want Richards, and his caked-up wife. After them, The Rock and The Torch came. To be honest, these guys weren't the meta when they dropped. Invisible Woman was a nice addition to the hero side of things, but before her buffs that came way later, she was not any form of server admin. At least not by herself. When she had 2 other supports, that's where the problem came in this season. Triple support. By this point, people for the most part got the hang of Loki, and Luna was still extremely strong, so having these two together was horrible. If Loki copies Luna for her ult, and every single healer pops their ult one by one after the other, that's at least 25 seconds of a team not dying. And then you have Invis on top of that because of triple support meta, and everything was really shit to fight up against. No one ever died, and if you did not play their healing comp, band for band, bar for bar, and blow for blow, well, you just don't win. You just don't. The whole game during this drawn-out era was who gets ult first, and personally, this was arguably one of the most cancerous metas of all time. I'm thinking like testicular cancer, or maybe like lung cancer. Either way, if Season 1 had gone on any longer, you would have gently opened the door on me, and boom, I'm hanging around. Anyway, moving on, we have Season 2. Impervious! No. Stay back! Stay back! Stay back! Emma Frost. God, I love her, but damn, did she terrorize people when she got released. At this time, Emma was moving like prime King Von, but the only difference is that she slayed like a diva. But because of how strong she was in ranked play, she was banned. She was banned all the time. And because of a strong anti-dive hero like this being banned, you know what thrived? Dive. Dive thrived. Damn, that's low-key a bar. And even with the Penny Rocket team up coming in the half season in Season 2.5, it didn't matter. Her ass got banned too. This meant that the gremlins of the Marvel Rivals community came out to play. Darkchild, Bast, Spider-Man, all of them terrorized backlines. I'm sure you can find a support player that played during this time, and they're gonna start staring off into space like a Vietnam veteran. Like, it was horrible. And you could say, well, didn't Gamma Squid come out at this time? If the meta was dive, what the hell do you think happened to Namor? Exactly, that's what I thought. So all the anti-dive is gone, these guys are killing backlines, and it was such a horrible season to be a part of for supports. Although I'm a tank main, so that wasn't me. So suck my dick. Did I still get yelled at for not bubbling my supports when I was mag? Sure. But remember, Magneto wasn't able to bubble himself and someone else at once. The cooldown was shared. And I'm sorry that I wanted to protect myself because I was at 150 HP and had no big shield, but whatever. Because of how buns the anti-dive was during this period due to it being banned, this wasn't the absolute worst, but definitely one of the shittier ones. Worse than Season 0, but not nearly as bad as Season 1 triple support. Up next, the most mid-season in my opinion, we got Season 3. This season, the new heroes were not meta when they released at all. Blade was extremely weak, and Phoenix mostly had the use case of killing Rocket and Hela ults. But was meta was the Flyers. Oh my god. When I tell you tank mains were not having fun, I mean it. I play Strange, the only dude at the time who could consistently control the air, and you still found me tweaking out on the floor because no one is on the ground. Thing mains especially had it rough because in season 3.5, Zhuyong had to give his ass a buff so that his haymakers could drop people and then allow the rock to turn into a goddamn meteor being able to jump at opponents. Because I'm a tank, this is going near the bottom. Just not there yet, but if this season could just implode, I would care less than Black Panther having that one buff to, quote, make his footsteps louder. Of course, since the next number after 3 is season 4, next is season 4. I'm gonna say it right now. Daredevil was ass. I hated it. Being forced to go Magneto or solo tank Penny just because he never died in the backline sucked. Supports yelling at you like you're not solo tank is arguably top 10 worst things a tank main can go through. Like, dude, I can't back up to bubble you and you can't expect me to not lose space doing that. Cooldowns exist. If Daredevil comes back really fast, I cannot bubble you 24/7. If I'm Penny, I can only plot down so many webs and mines at once, even if she has a 3-second CC. It took long enough for him to get an okay nerf, but if I could banish this blind guy to the Shadow Realm, I would. Mind you, this dude was so powerful despite him being blind. He's blind! A blind dude goes toe-to-toe with server admin Bucky, Iron Fist, like dog. Y'all can see! Other than that, this season was definitely the least cancerous of all the other seasons in my opinion. Was Daredevil fun to play against? No! But in ranked, he constantly got banned, so it was manageable. Season 5. The most cancerous, the most acidic, the most disgusting thing that has ever touched the earth. Gambit. The guy who's gonna make a name for himself joins the roster as a healer, and out the gate, this guy is packing more than Thor in the comics. Not only does Gambit have 2 opportunities to do a burst heal, anti-heal, or purify, he can dash, do a spin dash when he uses his combo, smack his staff to himself and allies, and that heals them, and his cards were able to give him or others damage boost. No, this isn't even the ult I'm talking about, by the way. The ult gives himself and allies a one-time purify, making people like Strange and Groot completely useless. Damage boost, jump boost, regenerated health, and gives a 30% boost to ult charge, meaning that everyone on the team that's affected by this ult will get their ults faster, and it makes it so that the enemy team isn't really able to react with the healer ult because the other healer managed to get their ult 30% faster than the enemy healer. Now tell me, is there any healer in this game that can give that many effects at once? No! Absolutely not. The only heroes that have more than one effect at a time for their ult are Mantis and Rocket, and those ults are mediocre at times. Like, on the one hand, I like when heroes shake up the game, but I said shake it up, Zhuyong, not level the goddamn world and then some. This meta was probably the biggest case of ban or die in ranked, and if Gambit was in play, if you said no, you lost. Even now, this little slap on the wrist nerf that he got in Season 6 doesn't completely mitigate it, but at least in Season 6, he's not the one who causes cancer, but something else does. Poke. By now, players, myself included, are getting really tired of some select people not being touched for a long time. Hela, Hawkeye, Bucky to a degree, but not really, because he did get nerfed really early in the game's lifespan. Hela can 2-tap with headshots, but I'm not going to be mad about that. In context, only cheaters are going to be able to do something like that. Hawkeye, well, you can argue, oh well, he's got nothing. Well, 2-tapping a tank is straight bullshit. And it feels worse for tanks, especially when the new tanks such as Rogue suffer hardcore against comps like this. Not to mention, all these poke heroes have some form of CC, making it worse for everybody when they're all played at once. Bucky with his hook and slow ball thing, you know, the one that he uses to reload his arm. Or his arm? No, his gun. You know what I'm talking about. Shut up, don't look at me. The Hela with her orb, Hawkeye having a slash that shoves people back. In cases like these, Angela, Thing, Rogue, and Penny all just flop over and die. This means that the two tanks that not many like to play are being forced to be picked constantly. Strange and Mag. Now, is this all the time? No, of course not. But it gets very, very boring to have to play the same two characters all the time. And what sucks is that I can't even devise any real way to make these characters usable while still nerfing them. Hawkeye being able to one-tap headshot is the only reason he isn't paired with Widow and uselessness. Hela could be nerfed in damage because she's hit scan, but then again, it's hit scan, so if a Hela player starts popping off, well, there's no real effect in context. I think the reason why is what the community has been talking about, and that is power creep. This is a bonus section, and I really wanted to put it in a different video, but it felt more reasonable to put here. But first, to define power creep, this is when newer content that releases is simply better than older content, typically to keep the game fresh. Over time, older content is rendered obsolete or underpowered, and this can mean that players need to constantly adapt to metas where you have to learn new heroes, but with the ticking time bomb of obscurity constantly going. Now with that out of the way, many players are advocating for a season where everything gets nerfed evenly. Doing this should have an effect of TTK going up, meaning supports and tanks can have more time to react to dives, or just any damage in general from DPSs. The downside of this is that in a game where triple support can still be extremely strong, if TTK is so high, then nobody ever dies. Ever. And then we end up having history repeat itself going back to Season 1, and I don't think we want to go back to Season 1 Prime triple support. If nobody dies, then stalemates can happen constantly, which isn't fun for anyone involved. If you go the other way, buffing everyone, then TTK goes down and times to react shrink. We do not need another situation where supports cry about Black Panther being unreactable. And I, as a tank, don't want to play babysitter for my team, so that's not a good option either. Although Marvel Rivals does have to do something soon, I just don't have any idea what to do. I don't think nerfing everyone is good, nor buffing everyone, and keeping it the same will keep players angry. Anyway, that is some of the biggest cancers and most sickening metas of Marvel Rivals history so far, and if you think I missed anything, comment what I missed. I'd love to hear about it. If you like this video, leave a like, sub, and share it with your friends. I'd love to be able to make more videos like this, and your support is loved and very much needed. With that, I love you all, and goodbye, everyone.